Let's begin to talk about the hope we see, not just in the culture, Daily Wire, etc., but the church, because, one thing I see immediately is, as we pointed out earlier on the show, you've got a big letter being written by bishops and cardinals opposing these German cardinals. And so that's good. It seems like, okay, I can see church teaching being clarified in a way, maybe in a way it wouldn't have been if this didn't come up. And other issues as well seem to be, perhaps this is the beginning of things being clarified. I don't want to be overly optimistic or naive.
Hopeful. Optimism is good. Nobody who likes golf, for instance, thinks they're going to go out and hit horrible shots. They think at this time I can hit a good ball. So we have to be optimistic and say, because it's part of the motivation of life that we believe we can do stuff. It's sort of like when you join the Marine Corps and you're not physically fit as someone who's been in the Marine Corps for 10 years, you shouldn't say, I can't do this. You say, no, I can do it. And they'll let you know at the end if you can.
You wait for them to tell you.
Because their standards are their standards, but you try, and most people will succeed. I was a Navy chaplain, saw a lot of people in the Marine Corps who were extremely physically fit who didn't start that way. But that's an analogy. In the life of the church right now, the sign of hope is the perennial sign of hope, which is that God's grace is manifest in the holiness and the fidelity of so many people, not all necessarily in the religious life or priestly life. And in our own age, the age of the laity, I think is a good way to put it. Diane and I were talking, driving over to the studio. A lot of the things that priests and nuns used to do to promote the faith are now being done by lay people. Yeah. Yourself, Scott Hahn, the professoriate in most Catholic schools who are faithful are lay people. There's this professor, Edward Fazer, out in California. You probably know him.
Great Thomist.
One of the best Thomists on the planet. Yeah. And yet he's a married man with kids, and he's devoted his life to something that in the past it would have only been monks, priests, and the like doing. So God supplies when we fail, in our ordinary patterns. And then new patterns. One of the great things, the expansion of education in the Western world, is the larger pool of people to enter the ranks of the educated, which means, given statistics, that means there will be more people available to teach philosophy and theology than there were 100 years ago.
Okay, yep, that's definitely a sign of hope. What else?
No, also I would say in the liturgical world, even though we had Traditionis Custodes, Pope Benedict's Summorum Pontificum in 2007, particularly here in the United States, also certainly in France and England, but in a very strong way here in the U.S., you've seen a real growth of Latin Mass communities where you find people families, they're flourishing, lots of children, generally being educated well. And I think that's also a tremendous source of hope for the church, particularly in the U.S., but also France and to a lesser extent, England.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below letting us know what you thought about the video.